Hey, hello, hi, welcome everybody back to a new video. So lately I've been playing a ton of Guitar Hero. I don't know why I'm going through this little phase. I've been having this Guitar Hero control lying around for quite some time, so just recently I've been starting to get some use out of it, and specifically I've been playing some Guitar Hero World Tour. I was also looking around seeing if I could just use it with my PC to plug into Clone Hero, and honestly those dongles or whatever, those adapters are just way too overpriced for me to go and consider buying it for something that would be just a phase. And not to mention how stupid hard all the songs are on there. I think pretty much every song is in like expert mode, so I would probably get bored of it really quick. And so I tried playing Clone Hero with just a controller, and it was not natural at all. I had mapped the controls to Clone Hero like how they did with Fortnite Festival, and it is not the same, especially because there's some notes where you have to do these two right at the same time, and Fortnite Festival has the left and right D-pad. So I mapped it a bit, and I don't know, I couldn't get used to it. And of course there's also the keyboard, and it was okay, but it just didn't feel really as genuine. I felt like I was just listening to music while just pressing some buttons. Didn't feel like I was actually playing the song. And even with those sort of solutions, there's no strumming or whammy, so it doesn't feel as genuine. And so I was looking around seeing like what other kind of options do I have. I know I have an Arduino Nano sitting around somewhere. I was thinking of doing that in the first place, but I couldn't find it. I don't know where it is. I know I have one. As soon as I'm gonna be done with this video, I'm gonna find it just lying around. But I was thinking of just pretty much using that as a microcontroller for this. I couldn't really find anything on Arduino Nanos, only because they're really kind of niche, I guess. Nobody really uses them because everybody is in favor of the Pico or Arduino Micro. And even then, Arduino Nanos use a mini USB connection, so I don't have any cables that are long enough to reach my PC. And so I was looking around my spare parts, and I came across one of these USB encoders. I have like two of these because I had another project off of the channel, which was an arcade cabinet. I used boards like this to go and take the input from the different buttons, and so that the game could recognize them. And it plugs into USB, so you just kind of plug it into this right here, and then here's the head for the printer cable, also known as USB-B. And I figured that this connector is actually a lot better because it comes with a long cable, so this is going to be perfect for when I'm just plugged into my PC, and I can just sit back and actually use the thing without having to worry too much about the range. Looking down over here, if I actually go and take the neck off of this first, there's this weird sort of telephone port. It's not Ethernet, it's a telephone port, and I guess they were supposed to be for like unused sort of peripherals for like pedals and stuff like that. So I want to see if maybe I could like just take this off and make this be the replacement for that port. It's like exactly the same size, so it would be perfect if I can just junk this and sort of make it into something like that. If not, I'll probably just find another hollow part and just use a Dremel to make the little cutout for this port. We'll be seeing what I can do, so we can actually just go and put this away. Oh, okay, let's be careful with these. There is a ton of connections in here. There is just this ribbon cable for the connections to the neck board, and this right here is for the batteries. So what I'm gonna do right now is take off, or actually no, we can just, okay. Perfect, we don't even have to desolder anything right now. So we can just take off this battery connection over here. Okay, so perfect. So if we took a look over here, there's already the up and down labels for the switches, which is perfect. Peek over here, you can definitely see those switches. If I go and strum it up, you can see that being pressed. That is cool. And let's try to worry about more of the ABXY inputs. And so for over here, the start and select, we should be fine. This is just a single layer PCB, so I'm gonna have to disassemble this to go and solder onto it. And for the whammy, it's a potentiometer, just like I thought. So I don't know if I would be able to go and program this, because I have no idea if the USB encoder takes analog input. I would need to go and take a look some more off camera. And for the actual neck inputs, they're just labeled as different numbers, which is weird. It just says 1, 2, all the way until 8. And I figure, you know, it should be pretty easy, but it's 8 different pins for 5 buttons. So like I was thinking that it would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the grounds for 1, 2, 3, 4, which would be 8, but this is 5. It's not like it's 10 pins. So I'm gonna disassemble this as well and see what's up in here. It's kind of crazy how simple these components are, yet they go for a pretty penny on places like eBay and stuff, unless you can find them for a good price in like Marketplace or something. This part is resisting a lot and I don't want to break this. There we go. So if I really wanted to, I could just hardwire everything straight onto this board, but I want to still make use of the connector right here. Maybe like worst comes to worst, I'll probably try to I'll probably just hardwire everything straight up to make it work. But I'm trying to figure out, why is there 8 different things for 5 buttons? Okay, so I kind of have an understanding of it. So I took some notes right here, and let's just go over this first. So it's A, B, X, Y, and then TB. I don't know what TB stands for, but I'm gonna just program this to L on the controller board. So if we go over here, there's 1 and 8 for A. For B is 2 and 7. And then for Y, it's a bit different. It shares the same pins as B. So if we look over here, Y, it doesn't have its own 2. It has its own 1, but it shares 1 with B. I think it's a bit weird how they did it, because the way that switches work, they're just 2 pins that complete a circuit. But I was confused at first, but I think it kind of makes sense now, because so like if you were to press B and Y, even though they're connected to the same sort of trace, they're not both exactly the same. So like on this one shares a trace with Y and B, but it doesn't share any on this side. So I think the way they did that was pretty smart. It saved them having to make 2 different traces. I was confused about it at first, but now it makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, it might be a bit confusing, but we do kind of have them figured out. So it's good that I went and wrote these down, because this is going to help out a lot for when we go and splice cables and kind of wire it onto here. All we can do now, I guess, is just reassemble this back. The whammy is in itself might be a whole thing we have to ditch. I have no idea what's up with this. Okay, so let's update you guys a bit over here. So we have all the connections over here soldered straight onto those numbers, and they should be aligned perfectly over here. With this part over here, instead of directing it over to up and down, I just put it to R1 and L2. The only reason why I'm doing that is because these blue buttons over here, I am pretty sure they're meant to take analog input, and these are pretty much the same exact thing as these pins over here. So I really don't want to go and solder things straight onto here. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna wire up the potentiometer right here a special way. So if we take a look at the potentiometer right here, there's 3 different pins. So this one is red, so I'm gonna assume that's 5 volt. This is the input, and this is also our ground. So if we go on to my other control board over here, this is another extra one. We're not gonna be using this one, but I use this one for testing. I also have a joystick module, which, believe it or not, consists of 2 potentiometers. This is only 1. So when I went and plugged it in onto the computer, it only recognized it as an x-axis input, because I had went and wired it up as so. So if we take a look right here, we have black for ground, red for 5 volt, and X on the white. I went and just kind of pigtailed them to some adapters over here. So the red over here is the gray, and gray goes straight into the 5 volt pin, which provides our power. This white goes along with the white onto here, which goes onto AL, which is left, which is also on the x-axis, and of course our ground. So when I went and did that, it actually recognized it on the gamepad tester website I was using, so that we can actually have our whammy working. I didn't think we were going to be able to make it work, but there we go. I think we pretty much got it. So what I'm gonna do now is just wire up the start and select and the whammy, and then that should be it for wiring. Here's one wire that's ready to go. I'm gonna go and wire up the start button first. Pretty much what I've been doing off camera was finding the traces and soldering wires straight up onto them. So if we take a look right here, here's the start trace, which goes directly onto the second pin right here. And then here's another one which goes onto this first one. So if I take a look on the back, it says that the very last one is start. So I'm gonna assume that this one is a positive one. just like so, pretty easy. The same thing on this second pin right here. We're going to do the back button now, which is going to be our select, and that one is the one kind of sort of in the middle right here. It's upside down, but it says, so I'm gonna put the positive wire onto that one. Boom. Negative over onto the very right. There we go. It is a lot harder for me right now because I don't have any flux, and because all these are really prone to moving around, I'm gonna just put some electrical tape. I just don't really want it to move around on accident with accidentally shorting some of the pins. If we're shorting these connections over here, it's gonna constantly recognize as an input. But we're pretty much done with this part. Positive onto this part. Our blue one into the middle. And then our black onto the very right. We're gonna plug our red 5-volt directly into this one over here. This input over here, this is just our controller input. So this, we're gonna just do it as left, only because I had luck with that. I would put it to just up, but you know, I don't want to risk it. There we go, it's on our left pin. Last but not least, our grounding pin. There we go. I'm gonna just go and put some more solder onto here. This looks really weak. And that should be it, honestly. I think that might be all for soldering. So there's our progress right here, our ground, our left, and our 5-volt. And I need to figure out how I'm gonna mount this, because if I put it over here, this kind of stresses a bit. I think like this might be the way to go. And this can probably just sit under here. And all this can probably just chill in this little part right here. I think that might be our way to go. So I'm gonna go and heat up the glue gun. Oh, but before I do that, actually, I want to see if this actually closes. So let's pretend we're gonna finally close it up, be all done with it. And yeah, it closes up pretty good. There we go. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, but actually we're not even done yet, because we still need to go. We still need to figure out our actual connector. Okay, so I lied. I can't find my glue gun. I thought I had one somewhere. I'm always using it, and I thought I was gonna have to retire this thing already after finally getting sponsored with the new soldering iron. My god, this thing just does not want to die. So what I'm thinking of doing is taking this glue stick that I have and just trying to use the heat from this to melt onto the guitar. I'm gonna try not to burn myself or melt the plastic. Yeah, so I'm definitely burning some of the plastic. I can smell it, but it smells like candle wax, and then like the birthday candle wax, the cheap dollar ones you would get. There we go. I think something like that should be okay. Ow, 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 ow. Now, let's figure out where we're going to put this connector. So we can just plug this in already. I did mention earlier that I want to put it right here. I really don't know if that's a good idea. I could just cut this PCB in half, but I don't want to risk losing this sync button. Let's see what the traces look like on here, actually. You know what? Maybe I could. If we cut it in half, it'll still take input for the sync button. I would probably have to modify this a bit so that it sits flush. So we're going to use the Dremel to go and cut up this port. If I end up messing this up, it's okay. I still have an extra one. So what I'm thinking of doing is just cutting off pretty much where this entire logo is. Should save us a lot of space. So probably up until where these dots are, I'm gonna cut. Maybe I could trim it from the right over here, because it doesn't look like any of these traces are being used. Oh, this is coming off. It feels really weird having to go cut some old hardware, but this part was never used in the first place. Doesn't seem to move when I press the button, which is good. If it closes good, then I'm gonna glue it down. Or you know what? It sits pretty good. Yeah, you can hear it snap into place. There we go. That's how it would look. It does kind of look weird with this part just kind of sticking out. I think it's pretty cool. It gives it personality. Go back to the old reliable, I guess. Oh, fuck. Ow. Just like the little tiny tip of this freaking burned my thumb. Ow. Ow. Fuck, this shit hurts. Ow, ow, ow. think that's gonna be just fine. I'm hoping the rest of the friction from having it being screwed down works better. It's not going too far. It's going somewhere. It's moving a bit, but it's fine. There we go. It snaps into place. That's pretty good. The glue gun did kind of help it, and it's not moving anywhere. Or the glue gun, the glue soldering iron. But I think we're pretty good now. So just put all these screws back in and connect it and really see if it works. I don't see what would be wrong with it, but let's just see. Here we are. I have the gamepad tester website I was using, and I'm gonna go and plug it in onto here. Does it plug in? No. It's not recognizing it. Let's see what I did wrong. Okay, so it's been a minute. So I pretty much redid almost everything. So if we take a look more on the neck part, and what I ended up doing is hardwiring each button straight up onto our controller board. If you guys remember, since we had some inputs that shared the same pins, I think it was 3. I don't remember off the top of my head because it's already been a couple days. I actually had to go and cut off some of the traces because whenever I would press a button like this one, it would register these 2 as being inputted as well. It was really weird. I don't know why it would do that. I don't know how they make it work in the first place with this board over here, but I had to go and do that and just add these wires. But that's pretty much what I did for that. And because I hardwired all of them, I had to go and take off the contacts for these. So here we go. I cut off this part, and here are the gold contacts that used to sit right here. For whatever reason, they didn't work. I could always put it back on if I wanted to. And not even that, for whatever reason, this board over here messes up all the inputs for this, for the whammy, for all these buttons over here. I have no idea why. I think it's because it probably just has something to do with the traces in here. I don't know. I don't really care anymore. But because of that, I also had to go and do the same thing, cutting off the traces over here and disconnecting literally everything from this board over here so that none of the buttons make any sort of contact. So really, I should just get rid of this because it's not useful at all towards the actual end product. But I'm gonna just keep it in here because it's not taking up any space. And if I were to ever want to play Guitar Hero on the 360 again, I could just wire everything back up how it was and it should be fine. But in simple terms, the end product has nothing to do with this. Didn't really get most of it on video because I just wanted to be done with it. It kind of sucks that I won't be able to use it between the Xbox 360 and my PC. In my opinion, it's okay because first off, I've never even cared about the Xbox 360 versions because this thing has been in storage like forever. I think I gave it a new life, so there's not too much harm done. And even then, and if I really did want to go and play the Xbox 360 version again, it's super easy for me to just go and wire it back up to how it used to be. So it is pretty similar to how we did it on video, but we basically just took everything off that had to do with this board over here, and everything on the neck board is hardwired directly onto here, as well as the potentiometer and our start and select buttons and our strumming switches. But pretty much everything else is in the same position. But now I'm just gonna go and put these shells back up so I can show you guys what it looks like in Clone Hero. I'm gonna go and plug it in with the USB cable. If we go over to Clone Hero, go to space for our controls. If we go over to green, I can go and press replace and then press the green button. It'll register the green, and you can pretty much get the idea with the rest of the buttons over here. Our D-pad doesn't work, nor does the Xbox button or the sync button over here, but you don't really need those in-game anyways. But the only things you really need are the start, select, whammy, strumming, and your buttons. I have a lot of songs on here already. I'm gonna just use this one only because I hope I don't get copyrighted. And as you can see, it works just good. Probably better for you to go and calibrate the thing before using it. I noticed that it did do quite a bit of a difference. So guys, that's pretty much it for this video. I'm glad I'm finally able to play Clone Hero properly without having to spend so much money, especially when I've been making use of things I've already had lying around. Make sure to like, subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.